Hotepu everyone. Today I wish to give you a brief seminar on the reason why a lot of spiritual teachings don't really seem to work for most people. Why many people try meditation techniques and visualization techniques and all kinds of ritual procedures, and they find that in the end they don't really seem to work. Well, the reason is because, for the most part, that the systems are not complete. I went to school at Princeton and Columbia universities. The value of that statement is that I learned how to present things in a very rigorous way that's easy to follow. You're forced to learn how to write well and how to analyze, in a Western sense, very thoroughly. And because of that kind of education, which is nothing compared to what I've learned from Kemet, what I learned from Egypt is far greater than what I ever learned in the Western schools. But it gave me a very strong place to express my innate scientific propensity. I love science, and I love how science forces you to think. So as you watch my videos on my channel, you'll see the way in which I tend to present things is very logical, very sequential, very easy to follow for the most part, I pray. So it was because of this kind of scientific bent that I'm able to give you this video today. In order for you to make something work, you must understand the system that you're trying to make work and its parts. You can't call yourself a doctor and only study one thing. You can't just study digestion and become a doctor. You must study the whole body, entire systems. You can't become a mechanic just understanding how to fix brakes. So to hang your sign, Joe Mechanic, on your door of your shop and you only can do brakes is misrepresentation and can get you into serious car trouble if it's your carburetor or your engine or something else, not brakes. So I have found that in the spiritual community, and I know many people in the spiritual community of every single group, Native American, Tibetan, Chinese, African, South American, Santeria, all of them. What I find as a consistent issue is the lack of a clear scientific model of spirituality. Many systems have partial models. It's like having just the brakes or understanding just the carburetor. I sought to understand the entire car system and electricity and the science of turbo and thrust and all the ally associate sciences that go with cars, quote unquote, or spirituality in this case, metaphor I'm using as cars. So most of my spiritual career and work has been to create the super system, the gestalt, the complete system. This was accomplished by me in Sedona, Arizona, when I finished the Pa'ut videos, P-A-U-T. If you just Google on my channel, Pa'ut or the Pathways of Peace or the Zuhet, any of those words, it will pop up these bluish screens with figures in them. There are three screens, the Pa'ut of Zuhet, the Pa'ut of humans, and the Pa'ut of Kepra Anu. Those three Pa'ut represent the super system. It is, to my knowledge, the world's only comprehensive view of spiritual systems, of spirituality. Any spiritual system that you study can fit inside those pa'ut and can be better explained through those pa'ut. And I mean any system from Christianity all the way down to Shinto, down to Buddhism. Any system can be revealed in greater depth through the Pa'ut, which I call the Gestalt or super system. And as a result, it gets very good results for people. But like with any system, you have to study it, you have to practice it, you have to learn the ways of a carburetor, of an engine, of how to fix cars. So many people, many traditions, many people who are very good people like yourselves, trying to become spiritual, find yourselves frustrated oftentimes that this is not working, it's working too slowly, it's not working as well as it promised, I'm not really seeing results. And that again is because primarily you were not taught the super system, how the whole thing is supposed to work. The other part I find is that many people are lazy. Many people are lazy. They want a quick fix. They want a panacea, a pill to fix their problems. They don't want to actually dig in and do the work. You can't get work or any kind of excellence unless you put in the time. That's true of anything. If you want to learn how to basket weave, you have to put in the time. How to knit well, you have to put in the time to study it. Practice. Practice some more. Playing violin, learning how to ski. So there's this kind of insulting approach to spirituality that you just kind of feel it and it's groovy and you feel all kinds of good and that's it. Or you can kind of talk about philosophy and what is the soul and the spirit and the universe. It's very insulting to true spiritual teachers because we understand it is actually more complicated, more scientific than mechanical sciences. It's very rigorous. If you don't believe me, try mastering astrology. It is so complex, so mathematical. It does it works both of your brain hemispheres, the creative, intuitive brain and the rigorous mathematical geometric brain. So I would like to speak to the mature people out there listening, those of you who are at a spiritual state of maturity, not a spiritual child who wants candy and flowers and feel goods, but who actually understand the reality of higher education of the spirit. It's like a PhD. The Pa'ut are like a spiritual PhD training. Many years ago, I taught as a teacher, grades 1 through 8, and I love children. And I found I just have a knack. During those years of teaching, I realized I teach the advanced students better. I have a way of speaking and dealing with them that is a very good match. Students that are lazy and didn't want to do their homework and were contentious and fighting and throwing spitballs, they just weren't my preference. Some teachers are very good at that, handling those kind of people. I prefer people who like to learn, people who are mature intellectually and mentally. And this interest of mine comes out through all of my spiritual presentations. So I find I draw to me sharper minds, more thoughtful people, more intelligent and more mature spiritual people, which means you're willing to do some work. That's all it really means in English. So you can't be faulted when you were trying to practice a spiritual system that was not complete, just breaks, nothing else being taught to you about your car or your spirit. You're to blame if you are lazy and you want a free ride or you want to not pay for anything or you want to not do any work. That's on you, okay? But I'm discussing today mostly the issue of it being an incomplete system. Let me begin by clarifying then the system overall in a few moments, a few minutes. The key to understand is that you are consciousness coming through spirit, and you are one consciousness shining through 9 layers of spirit. Okay? That's the most important thing to know. Again, I'm talking as if you are Ivy League spiritual students. I'm talking rather high levels of spirituality with you that demand a mature mind and a focused consciousness. So you, I shall repeat, are one consciousness observing, expressing itself through 9 levels of spirit. So you are not spirit. You are the observer of spirit. This is very important. Many people say, oh, spirit and conscious are one thing. It is not. You can lose your physical body. You can become comatose through an unfortunate accident. And your body's not really working for you. It's not doing anything. You're comatose, but you are aware. This was revealed by the ancestors that beyond the body is a consciousness. Just because the body dies does not mean you lose consciousness. So that taught us that consciousness is not the same thing as your body. Okay, so the first thing is you are consciousness, meaning an observer, an awareness, who's becoming aware of 9 levels of spirit. So consciousness is who you are. The spirit is what you have. You are consciousness and you have a spirit. And the spirit has 9 basic levels, 9 layers of spirit. The most subtle layer is called space, literally. Space like in the universe, galaxy, space. That's the most refined, subtle level of spirit. The densest level of spirit is your physical body. Now note, I defined your body as spirit. Many people say, oh, you have the physical world, and then you have the spiritual world. No. The physical world is the densest form of spirit. This is spirit. The flesh and bones, if you pinch your skin, that was spirit you just touched. The table you're sitting at, the chair you're on, sitting in, the floor you're walking on, those are material forms. That's the spirit. The spirit is the densest form of it, is the material world. Okay, now, this consciousness we call Amun. We call spirit Nu or Nun. This consciousness wants to have an adventure through 9 levels of storylines of spirit. Spirit is the same thing as energy matter. As Einstein said, E equals mc squared. We knew that in Kemet because the imagery of energy was Ra, which is the sun disk with a snake around it. Well, the sun disk meant material form, energy that we can perceive, perceptible energy. The snake meant, the sun disk meant condensed energy, energy in form, because you can see the sun as a form. The snake meant invisible energy. So the sun disk meant visible forms, and the snake meant invisible energy, and it was one hieroglyph called Ra. The sun would be matter, the snake would be energy. They are one thing. Energy and matter convert back and forth with each other. So your spirit, your Nun, your sun disk and snake convert between form and energy into a form to energy into a form. Back and forth, they convert. This is the essence of magic, of alchemy, of psychology, of creative visualization. You see? When you think of something you want in the future, a new car, a new house, a new relationship, you don't have the form of it yet. You don't have the actual form of the car or the form of the new house. It's just an energetic construct in your mind. Eventually, it congeals into a new car. The energy in your mind, your mental energy, became a physical car. E equals mc squared, snake equals sundisk, sundisk equals snake. Okay? So, consciousness has recessive energy, just enough energy to will, to intend. Some say consciousness has no energy. Those people are ridiculous. Consciousness has 99.999% awareness, but that little tiny other 0.000% is a little bit of energy, just enough to will something, to intend something. Okay? So consciousness works through energy forms. The goal is to learn how to use your consciousness to influence energy matter. Some call this meditation, some call this concentration, some call this focus, some call this psychic powers, some call it magic, whatever you want to call it. Now, consciousness, the observer, is free. There are no limits to your awareness. You can think about anything you want, as far away as you want to, and you're there in your mind instantly. Time does not bind it, space does not bind it. However, your spirit, which is what? Energy matter. Your spirit, energy matter, has 9 basic levels. It's completely locked into time and space. It must follow time. It must follow going through space. Time is the measure of distance through space, so they're linked. Time and space, or space-time, however you want to put it. So what am I saying to you? There's a part of you that's completely free. That's called your mind. The other parts of you, or the other part of you with 9 levels to it, is a machine. It's a robot, an automaton, a mechanical entity. It's a living machine. Spirit is a living machine. But it runs on very strict mathematical formulas. Chlorophyll and the speed of light and density and gravity. Those are very serious formulas that run the universe. So it's important to know you are part non-machine, you are part free, you are part mind, and you are part machine. A beautiful divine machine. I call it the wondrous machine, the dumb machine. Nature is the creator's body. What we call Mother Nature is the creator's form, the creator's body. It is not the creator, it's his body. And he observes through those forms, but he is not those forms or experiences. You are not your experiences, you are not your form, you're not your body, you're not your thoughts, you're not your past, you're not your failures, you're not your successes. Those are your forms. You are the one observing all that. You see? This is why it's important to have a super system that explains the whole thing in one big picture, so the details will make sense, so that your spiritual work will actually produce results for you. Now, these 9 forms are key, because each of these 9 bodies, or levels of your spirit, I call them the 9 spirit bodies, each of them have their own mechanics. They're different machines that are working in tandem. You have different spirit bodies, your physical spirit body, your aura or your electromagnetic spirit body, you have your soul spirit body, you have your mental spirit body. Each of these spirit bodies unite around what's called a spiritual black hole. Like in the galaxies, there are these black holes that bind. They bind our solar system. They bind our galaxy. The center of our galaxy is a black hole, which binds the whole giant galaxy. These giant centers of gravity bind particles. Similarly, in the center of your heart, literally your heart organ, there is a magnetic field, a gravitational field of immense power. It's very tiny. It's nano small, tiny, but it emits vast amounts of gravity, binding all of your cells, binding all of your spirit bodies into one entity. We call it the agglutinating center, the glue that keeps everything together. At death, this black hole stops feeding, and then it becomes defunct, and then you begin to split apart. Your body goes to the earth, your spirits begin to separate, and you begin the dissolving process if you don't know how to keep your center bound. Okay? That's also why many people, they've discovered that when people die, they actually lose weight. They lose actual mass. Doctors don't know why that is yet. Why a person who was 180 pounds before they died is now 175 pounds or something. They don't know where that extra weight went to. I'll tell you where it went to. The agglutinating black hole gravitational center, gravity can affect mass. Einstein proved this. The faster an object goes, the more weight it will accrue. It will get heavier. Because no object can exceed the speed of light. If anything dares to approach the speed of light, gravity will make that body, slow down its velocity by increasing its weight or mass. It begins to agglutinate or attract more and more particles. And the particles pack in tighter, making it heavier. So it actually gains weight as it gets faster. So when you lose that gravity center, the agglutinating center, which can create density, or what we know as weight, when it stops working, that density becomes more dispersed, you lose weight. At death, cadavers are lighter than their forms a few moments before they died. Okay. Okay, so your job as the consciousness, observing these 9 layers of spirit, these 9 spirit bodies, is to perfect them each. To make sure that each of the 9 spirit bodies, what I call your 9 children, your 9 babies, to make sure each of them are fed, nourished, raised, educated, clothed, cared for, loved, in such a way where they become a family that works as a team, a wonderful inner family. What happens is when you meditate on something, getting a car or a new house or whatever it is, your amun, your mind says, I want a new house. But one of your machines, one of your spirit bodies may say, I'm not going to give that to you. It will rebel. Its programs may rebel against you, Amun's will, your will. And that's why oftentimes spiritual techniques, if you are a hardworking spiritual student, not if you're a lazy person, then you're other category. But if you're a sincere, hardworking spiritual student, and you find they're not working, it's because there is a kind of, like in the Matrix, a Smith program, an aberrant program running in one of your 9 machines, your 9 spirit body levels. I had one client around 2009 who suffered from very intense physical, kind of global physical pain, just an aching and kind of malaise. He asked if I could help him. I said, yes. I found out which, and this is the key thing to my diagnostic, I determined which of the 9 spirit body machines was glitching. He tried doctors, medicine, massage therapy, all kinds of physical therapies. I said, well, they haven't worked because that's not your problem. Your aura, your acupuncture meridian body, we call your shahut or sahu, that is ailing. And no physical actions will take care of that by themselves. No physical actions by themselves. So I did work on that body, on the astral body, and he felt better. The pains went away. You have to know which of your 9 spirit bodies is creating the culprit problem. So that's why even if you eat great diet, you still can become a very hypochondriac person. It may not be that the hypochondria issue is dietarily based. It could be another level, coming from some other level. Your soul, your aura, your mind, it can come from some other part of you. So unless you have a technical model of the mechanics of each of these 9 levels, you will misdiagnose how to get better, whether it's health or financials or relationships or family or career, whatever. Now you target your repair system to specialize in that particular machine. And there it is. This is the key. These 9 bodies, these 9 machines that run very different programs, they have their own ways and their own days. Each of these 9 machines have their own calendar, their own astrology system, and I mean that. They have completely distinct astrologies. What you know as Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, Libra, that is your Ka astrology, your Ka mechanics, your soul or your inner child. Whereas what's called the Bazi Chinese astrology system does not read your soul, it reads your astral body. The Taurus, Gemini, Virgo thing reads your Ka, what we call your soul, your inner child, your inner emotional animal. Whereas the Bazi Chinese system reads your aura. It's a different entity, a different being. So it has its own astrology, its own system, its own mechanics. Your Kat has its own chart. We call it the chart of truth, based on the 7-day week. It's a completely different astrology than most people have even heard of. Okay? So I have decoded the machinery of the spirit, particularly of the 9 levels. I've had cases where people had to fix what's called their ab, which is their mental machinery. It wasn't their emotional problems or their energetic problems. Emotional is your soul, energetic is your astral body. It wasn't even physical problems. It was their mind, their ab. So I had to have them focus on sacred geometry shapes to actually study them. How polygons are formed from circles, and how to measure the angles and study the angles and contemplate what's called contemplative geometry. As they began to do this, the mental body got developed and their problems went away. They began to see life very clearly. No ginkgo biloba or Chinese tea or acupuncture system or astrology reading was helping this person. Not at all. But the study of sacred geometry shapes fixed the problem because that was the body that was ailing that person. Okay? So now, with that in place, I'm going to walk you through this quick slideshow now about one of your bodies, an astrology system I'll be adding to the membership class. The astrology system called the Sahu or Orion astrology technique. Now, many of people may know this as Chinese medicine or Chinese astrology. The Chinese preserved these teachings from Africa, but I'm going to make it exquisitely clear to you all. The way in which I approach it, both philosophically and technically, those methods are different. I'm going to give you a taste of what I mean. Those of you that are versed in Chinese medicine or Chinese astrology, particularly Chinese medicine at this point, will see what I mean. When I begin to explain this technique, you will see it's a very different approach. My approach is different because of my model, because I'm looking at it from the Gestalt, the super system model. So I'm noticing things that are being missed in Chinese medicine, being missed in acupuncture technique, being missed in Chinese astrology, because they don't have enough of a bird's eye view of the whole system. So they're saying and doing things that are partial. Okay, let's begin. So the first thing you will learn in the Orion astrology system is its function is to help you to manifest your chart's houses luxuriously. Okay? So in that system, you have houses. You have houses for your mother, your father, your grandparents, your forebears, your children, your career, your health. There are these houses or areas of life. And sometimes you can have a great career, but an awful love life, or a great love life and a horrible career. So it means those houses may sometimes produce, sometimes they may not. They may give you crap, they may give you glory. The goal of astrology is to use its powers so that all 12 houses produce what I call gold or luxury. Because these houses represent what that machine is outputting. So this machine called Sahu, or your astral body, is in charge of its astrology houses. And if you're getting garbage in those areas of life controlled by this chart, I'm going to show you how to fix the wiring. Okay? Now, the first thing you have to understand in the Sahu system, which is the Orion star, Sahu is the Egyptian word for Orion, is there are three basic forces you start with. A neutral balanced charge, meaning positive negative charge balanced. So it's like a net sum, a zero net sum. You have a positive charge, and then you have a negative charge. So you have electricity charge, magnetic charge, and a net sum balance of those two. All right. The electric charge fuels all the functions of your body, the actions your organs and bloodstream and brain do. So the electrical charge, called the yang charge, we call it shu or wachet in Egyptian, shown here, this red wire going up the back of this figure. This red wire, called the electrical wire, fuels all of your body's activities. This blue wire going down the front and down the back of the legs nourishes your body. So yang means to do, yin means to nourish. Now, if you are learning Chinese medicine or you're learning acupuncture, acupressure, TCM, or whatever, I've just given you the simplest and clearest definition of yin and yang. Yang is the part of you that fuels the body's activities and processes. Yin is what nourishes the body systems. If you have too much yang, you could already begin to diagnose what's going on. You have hyperfunctions. That could be like cancer or hypergrowth. If you have too little yang, it's not functioning well enough. It's a lazy liver, a lazy spleen, a lazy circulatory system. If you have hyper yin, you are one part of your body's feeding off everything else. Again, like cancer does, cancer cells do. If you have hypo-yin, not enough yin, you're not having enough nourishment in a certain system. Boom, we're done. Okay? So, electricity means to do, magnetic means to nourish. So we have the red wire here in the back of the body and in the front of the legs here, and the blue wire in the back of the legs and the front of the body. Okay? Then you have in the middle this green kind of loop here, this green wire going this way. That's the middle charge. It's the neutral charge, meaning the electric and magnetic charges are equalized, zero net sum. So we have electric in red, magnetic in blue, and balanced electromagnetic in the green. Those are the three things you must first work with. Now, the astral body, your aura, is called your body vitalis. It's your vitality level. It determines how much energy you have. Okay? So to maintain your vitality over your lifetime, so with age you don't get more drained and old and dried up, you want to study this machine, this wiring system, especially the red, blue, and in this case green wires, like in an outlet box, a circuit breaker box or something. Okay? Let's say your child is hyperactive. Just the phrase hyperactive, you can tell me already what's going on. Is that red wire or blue wire or green wire? It's got to be red. He's hyperdoing, he's overdoing something. ADD. Something happening in this red wire. What? Takes more training, but you get the right idea. Okay, if you're lazy bum, don't have a job, you don't do any work, this blue is too strong, too lazy. You're not nourishing anything in your life. You're not doing anything. Or the red could be too underactive. Okay. Now, the key though is where these two wires join, right where my cursor is here. Right here. That's where the two wires join at the root of the body. And at this point, they enter the green. When the current flowing through the red and the current flowing through the blue are the same net voltage, net amount, let's say. Okay? Let's say it's a factor of 10 electrical current and 10 magnetic current. When it's 10-10, they actually begin to rise into this middle one. If it's like 9-1 or 8-2, they will not go into the middle. There's a kind of door at the bottom of this green channel, this green wire, that will only allow a balanced electromagnetic charge into it. It will not allow an imbalanced equation into that wire. Now, when does that happen? When do you have the balanced electromagnetic equation? Well, it happens every, let's see, every 45 minutes. And it happens every spring equinox. It happens every half moon. And there are these times I've clocked where it happens automatically with no effort. Okay? When the balance charge goes up into this green area, you now have what's called Tai Chi. So this is called Yang Chi in the red. This is called blue, Yin Chi in the blue. When they're balanced, it's called Tai Chi. The Tai Chi symbol. We call it Smatawi. The red we call the papyrus. The blue we call the lotus. This green we call the river of Hapi, the Nile. And when the red and blue unite in a balanced charge, we call it Smatawi, the inner Smatawi, unification of the two lands or the two wires. When the charge is 10-10, okay, It goes up the Nile here as the balanced charge, and it has these way stations. There's one here in orange, one here at the heart, and one here in the head. These way stations are called in Chinese the Tantian or the Dandian. Tantian means like cinnabar fields, but what it really refers to are storage batteries. You have 3 storage batteries that store smatawi or balanced charge. This is called the lower Tantian, the lower storage battery, the middle storage battery, the upper storage battery, and these 3 storage transformation centers only store neutral charge, Tai Chi, Smatawi, electromagnetic balance. They will not store only yin or only yang. That's very important. So then when you have this balanced charge going through the river of Hapi up this central thrusting root, it's called, or the Sushumna in yoga, or the middle pillar in the tree of life, it's stored down here. And when it's stored here, it fuels the lower organs, the kidneys and the liver. It sends Tai Chi or Smatawi or balanced charge to the liver and to the kidneys. When it goes up to here, it fuels the mind, which is the word for heart, and fuels the stomach, spleen, pancreas system, plus the heart, plus the lungs. And then it goes up here to become what's called Yuan Shen, or we call it Ba, and it fuels the pituitary pineal brain and the higher brain. So this is called in Chinese Ji Shen, which means acquired Shen, acquired energy. This is called Shen, which is mental energy, and this is called Yuan Shen, original energy. We call this the Ka, the Ab, and the Ba. We call this down here Geb. Sometimes we call it Ast. We call the heart Haru. We call up here Osar, the divine family. Down here stores the Ast energies or the raw Geb energies. Here we store the Haru energies. And then Haru feeds the upper organs, like I said, the heart, lungs, and the spleen, stomach, pancreas. And up here, Osar fuels the pineal, pituitary, thalamus, hypothalamus, the brain centers. Okay? Those are the 3 things you have to have together. The red, the blue, and this green. And they must have a large voltage storage of energy of balanced EM energy, Tai Chi energy, Smatawi energy. I'm going to take a second there. If you lack electricity, then you have no functions. Your functions are weakened. Too much electricity, hyperfunction. You lack magnetic energy, no nourishment. Too much magnetic energy, you bloat. You overnourish something until it becomes cancerous. If you don't have this neutral charge in the middle, these batteries will not disperse their balanced charge to the organs in a balanced way. Therefore, your organs become imbalanced. You see, it's very logical. It's very easy to follow. If you just work with the numbers, connect the dots. These dots along the channel, these blue dots and these red-orange flames here, correspond to areas of heightened magnetic centers on the blue wire and electrical nodes on the red wire. These yellow-orange dots are the electrical nodes, these reservoirs of higher electrical impulse, and the blue dots are where there's more magnetic charge on the magnetic wire. This image shows this middle root, the same as this green one, only a frontal. Okay, and it's from this middle root you get the chakras, which you see here. The chakras are along this same middle line. Okay, so you're seeing that chakras, what are chakras? They're really the foundations of your emotions. They're the foundations of your emotions and your instincts. If you have emotional problems, anger, fear, worry, phobias, anxiety, frustration, depression, it's because there's a charge that's either blocked, overdone, or underdone along these wiring systems. To me, it's not a mental issue, or you've got a wiring problem. You need a spiritual electrician to swoop in and fix those wires. Okay? So the first thing you have to learn are the three great wires. In this case, it's blue, red, and green. Actually, it's blue, red, and this actually is white on the inside, in the middle. But this picture shows green, so we'll say green for now. The next thing you must learn are 8 channels. This little image captures the whole teaching. It's called the 8 extraordinary meridians, the 8 extra meridians, the 8 psychic meridians, or the 8 ancestral meridians, the 8 parent meridians, has many names. If you're getting acupuncture done, if the acupuncturist does not first determine, are the electrical red wires functioning and flowing right? Are the blue wires flowing right? And is the green wire flowing right? If that's not where he starts, you should have him watch my video. Because if he watches this video, he'll understand what I'm saying. And he will amend his protocols for you. Because these are the meridians he's working on. These are the 12 meridians that are used in acupuncture. But these 12 meridians are fueled by the 3 great meridians of red, blue, and green. And then these 3 way stations, the Tantians, what they call the 3 Shen. So if these 3 meridians and these 3 stations are weak, of course you're going to have their offshoot wirings weak. All these 12 wires will also be weak. So if the acupuncturist is working on these wires, these secondary wires, without having addressed the primary wiring system and battery system, then you're going to be going to him or her over and over and over again. Now, these 8, you see there are 8 words: Yang Wei, Yin Wei, Yang Chao, Yin Chao, Chong, Ren, Du, and Dai. 8 words I just recited there. This is the most important model. You have first the 3 great wires and the 3 storage batteries. That's the first thing to look at. The next thing are the 8. These are 8 wires that zip through here. They're not shown here, but they're modeled in this structure. That should be the second thing addressed in the wiring system. First, the 3 great wires and 3 great storage batteries. Then you look at the 8, what's called the 8 parent wires, the 8 psychic wires, which are these, which I teach to the members who want to learn this in the membership. I'll put a link below of where to link into the membership. These are called the parent meridians, these 8. Can you guess what these 12 are called? The children meridians. So these first 3 are called the master meridians. Then the 8 are called the parent meridians. And then the 12 are called the children meridians. Now you ask yourself, which sounds most important to you? First, you want to take care of the master, who takes care of the parents, who then take care of the children. This must be the protocol for acupuncture or qigong or Chinese medicine or getting your Chinese teas. They must first fix the master meridians and storage centers. That should be the first round of qigong or tai chi or Chinese teas or acupuncture. Then they should fix the 8 parent meridians. Then they should be putting needles along you like this. You see, I've analyzed the wiring of the machine. So I have force myself to become a an astral body electrician. Okay? Now, this is your electromagnetic astral body's wiring system here, the 12 meridians, which link to your organs. Look, your lung, pericardium. And here you see in this thrusting Sushumna Hapi middle pillar of the tree of life root, whatever you want to call it, it centers along all the organs. So when you have the balance charge going through here, it disperses balance charges throughout the organs and throughout the organs wires. These are the organs wires. These three are basically the machine's wire, the whole system's wire, the main wiring system. These are the organ wiring systems, you see? And these nourish the organ wiring system. Let's slide on. So the next thing you'll learn, besides that wiring protocol, is, let's see here, make sure we get this picture in screen, how to make everything smooth, how to make the whole system how to make the whole system prepped for balancing. First, you have to use joy, loving yourself. This is the goddess Het Heru, the queen of joy, pleasure, laughter, and all that is sweet of life. She's called the great honey jar of life. Okay? Now, I want to run up here 1 second. What makes the red and blue charge, the electromagnetic charge, balanced? I said a few things. I said joy. I said the equinoxes. I said the half moons. But joy was key. When you are sexually aroused or you are happy, just happy, that happiness, what you call happiness, what it really is, from a wiring point of view, is the electromagnetic charges balance out when you're happy. They become 10-10, 10 electrical and 10 magnetic ratio. When they become balanced, what happens? The center channel sucks them up and begins to heal your system. Balance out your organs with a balanced charge. Whenever you're happy, whenever you're joyous, or whenever you're sexually aroused, sexual arousal, joy, happiness, fun times, balance the charge and it goes up the middle. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so that brings me back to our Lady Het Heru. In the Book of the Dead it says, "My eyes are of Het Heru." I call this the smiling eyes of Het Heru technique. Some may hear it as the inner smile technique, but I have a different approach to it. My eyes are of Het Heru, the Lady of Beauty and Joy. You must put a loving smile into your eyes and into your lips. You must then smile to all of your organs until they laugh, until they're joyous, until they're filled with bliss. What is that bliss? The balanced EM charge going up the green center. I'm defining for you what happiness and joy is. It's when a balanced charge is up the middle. So laughter, I'm proving through a mathematical approach, a scientific approach of the astral wiring, laughter heals. So you should always respond to life with joy. No matter what you're going through, laugh at it. No matter how horrible it looks, laugh at it. It will give you health, give you balance, give you the power to be willing and able to respond to the event, to the crisis. So I'm going to have a whole in-depth training in the smiling eyes of Het Heru technique. It is exquisite. You're basically filling your body with a kind of psychological honey. It's like coating all of your liver and spleen and pancreas and heart and kidneys, all of your organs, your spine, your back, your muscles, with this honey coat, this golden sweet honey. This meditation heals you by making the middle charge happen. And boy, does that amplify your acupressure work. It helps with the doctors, with Chinese medicine, the pills they give you, the teas they give you. Everything works better because the system is primed through joy, bliss. Now, what do I mean by Het Heru? She's the queen. You'll see here a waterfall. She's the queen. She's called Oshun, which we also invoke in this process. Oshun or Madame Erzouli. They are the queens of rivers and waterfalls. But what is the river of Het Heru? What are the waters of Oshun? I will tell you what they are. Three major types of water: endorphins, opiates, dopamine. When you're happy, when you're smiling, when you're laughing, when you're joyous, your body floods you with three main chemicals: endorphins, opiates, and dopamine, the happy chemicals. I'm telling you the scientific definition of Oshun, of Het Heru, of Bast, the cat of joy. Her river is not some river, just some river outside. Your inner Oshun, your inner Het Heru, your inner Bast, your inner Miao are the flood of endorphins, dopamine, and opiates that happen when you're having good times, like sex or with a good friend or laughing or watching a funny movie. There she is. You are now swimming in her river. Okay? When you master her through the smiling from your heart technique, you get what's called Hatep, meaning you're always happy for no reason. You're just a happy person. You're a calm, happy person. It's called Hatep. I will teach you this technique where you learn to touch certain points on your body in a specific sequence. Like this one gets rid of anxiety and fear. You hit point 1 first, then point 2, followed by point 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a sequence. If you touch these points, you will get rid of that anxiety. It'll just go away. What I'm doing is I'm hitting certain buttons on your wiring, on your meridians. It's like a Morse code to your emotional energy system to shut down the anxiety reflex. We just deactivate that charge through a particular sequence of tapping. And once you do this, you are now entering a stress-free zone. If you feel stress or fear or worry or loss or shock, you tap it away, and it deactivates. You also learn your Orion chart, which gives you 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, water, in proportions. What percent of these you should have. Between 15 and 20 is normal. Above 20, you have too much electricity or magnetic energy. Below 15, too little. We discussed that earlier about the red and blue wires. Blue was nourishing, red was function. Okay? And you learn that each of these wood, fire, earth, metal, water elements correspond to, look, an organ. Wood is your liver, gallbladder. Fire is your heart. Earth is your stomach, spleen. Metal is your lungs. So your lungs, if they're low here, metal is lungs, 1%, that means your lungs are under functioning. Lungs belong to the yin, the blue wire. So you have an under functioning blue wire affecting your lung system. That charge is not getting to the lungs. So you have asthma, breathing problems, you have skin problems, eczema, itching, crawling skin, that kind of thing. You then will learn how the organs can be used to influence your environment. This is a feng shui wheel. Different directions of your house, your room. This is your family part of your life. How green, which is liver, affects your family. How purple and red, which is the heart, affects your prosperity and reputation. How the pink earth remember here, earth, is your love life, and so on and so forth. You learn that from the wirings within you, you can cause the wiring around you, called your environment, your feng shui, You can cause the wiring of your rooms, of your space, to plug into, like in the Matrix, to jack into your inner wiring of your meridians, and they feed each other. So the external wiring system conjoins with your internal meridian wiring system, amplifying your family life, your money life, your reputation, your love life, etc. You learn all this in the class if you sign up for membership. Okay? Then you'll learn how to work with calendars, which times of the day to chant certain words of power to help those wires, the liver wires, the lung, large intestine wires, from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. How each wire, there's a year wire, right? There are wires that come for the year, wires that come in the month. There are wires that come every day and every hour. This is the hourly wires wheel. You will learn to plug into the hours of the charges of the year. So your year is lucky. You learn to plug your meridians into the month wires and download that information. And download the daily wiring, which is this, I'm sorry, not this one. And then download the hourly wiring, which is this one. You will then learn from the Orion system the tree of life and how your ancestors live here. That's why I have a mummy here. This is a kind of Russian egg style mummy casing because the outer shell is the physical body, the inner shell is the aura that survives death. It's inside the physical body. You learn how these work together in that class. And thus we have the teachings of Orion. You will learn the stars of Orion, the rituals of Orion, which links to the 3 great pyramids of Giza, which have 3 chambers, the lower, middle, upper chamber. The lower chamber is your lower battery. The middle chamber in here is your heart battery. The upper chamber was a battery in the forehead. And thus, through this technique, I will teach you all how to have vitality for all of your life. You will not age and get all decrepit and wizened and dried up. You will revive your vitality, your charge, have a lot of energy. The organ's still fresh and active. I will teach you how to not age. People don't understand what aging is. Aging is not cells wearing out, it's something else. It's a wire. And I decoded which wire is the one that controls your aging process. Because with age, you get dry, meaning your skin wrinkles, meaning it's losing moisture. The collagen is breaking down, you're losing moisture. The charge in the 3 master wires, the blue and the red and the green, lower. There's one wire that fixes the wrinkles, fixes the aging, fixes the drooping of the body, and fixes the draining of the electromagnetic red and blue wires. There's one wire that controls all that. It's the wire of the fountain of youth. And it is not hard to activate. But you must do it scientifically. So that brings me to a conclusion on this seminar. I truly invite you all to sign up. I'm offering so much in the membership class. You're getting so much for your investment. And think of it as an investment in your spiritual education. You pay so much more to go to college to learn how to be a better worker in a particular field. What I'm offering here is an Ivy League level spiritual education at a ridiculously low price. Think of it as investing in your spiritual higher education. Aren't you worth it? Aren't you tired of having aches and pains or bad luck in love or in work or with family? Aren't you sick of these things? Then let's coach you on how to get yourself together, to pull it together. Everyone listening to this audio, sign up. I've decided for the first time in my teaching to offer this stuff to the public at a very affordable rate. So invest in your spiritual education, improve yourself, and not only will you improve yourself, you'll open the way to you becoming spiritually immortal, where we say mummified, where you mummify your spirit bodies. Your spirit bodies are 9 of them. You make them mummified, so when you lose your physical body, the other 8 stay fully functional on their astral and subtle planes of spirit or space. We look forward to seeing you all in the class. When you enroll, if you can email us saying that you really wanted to learn more of the Orion system or the chakra system, because I teach you the 7 major chakras also in this class. It's the same price. You also learn Egyptian language. You also learn astrology. You learn words of power. I'm packing so much into your education because I want the world to become a better place. And this is my way of doing that. So we look forward to seeing you there. Invite your friends, anybody you know who's spiritual, looking for a solid spiritual teaching, have them look no further. And we truly look forward to seeing you all radiate like the stars of Orion, like the sunshine of Ra himself. May you have wealth, health, love, and luxury. May you have wealth, health, love, and luxury eternal. Dwau, see you all soon, and Hotepu.